I'm Bob Johnson, and it is a sad moment here, as it is the final fireside chat for the 2020 season in 2021. And with that, as always, we talk with head coach Kent Kessinger for this week's fireside chat. And Coach, thank you again for taking time out to join us.
You're welcome, Bob. It's good to be here.
The world's longest football season comes to an end today. And unfortunately for some, it's their final games as a Brave out there, and there's going to be some kids that are going to be missed, but it's good to at least get a chance to send them off in a good way.
Yeah, you think of all the things that could have happened with the pandemic, and not even having a season. We were able to get not only a fall in where, we played pretty well and all these kids had an opportunity to play, but then they also got, a chance to make up at least 4 out of the 5 games that we didn't get in the fall. And so it becomes a pretty good season. They'll end up having a 10-game season. And although we know that it was really long, from August to April, might be the longest football season in the history of man, but it's good to be able to put these guys out, at the end of their careers, and have them have an opportunity to keep on playing. And, I think that the seniors have really, they really have relished the fact that, we didn't play last week, and they had 3 more practices and 3 more times, last week, and then within the game week also adding in this week to be able to really play something that they've probably been playing for a very long time, this sport of football.
And of course, with the way things have fallen due to the pandemic, there are some who can continue to play and others who are choosing not to. And let's highlight some of the young men who are finishing up today. And Coach, I'll let you start off with I'll let you start it off here with the seniors that are finishing up today.
Well, seniors that we have finishing up are Micah Mayo, a 6-year guy for us, or 5th-year guy. He could be a 6-year if he decided to come back next year, but he's a 5th-year guy for us. I'm just going to try to list these guys off. Micah Mayo, Keaton Ricard, Leland McKinney, Keith Waltrip, Will Wallace, Isaiah Ville, and August Walter. All these guys are finishing up their career for us. Obviously, Mike has been here the longest. He had a redshirt season initially coming into his career after getting injured in high school. He's had his ups and downs. The first year of college was a little rough on him academically, but he figured out how to pull things all together and just really do well. Matter of fact, it was his birthday this week on Thursday, and so he's finishing up playing football after a long career of ups and downs, and on his birthday week. So how cool is that? He's been a special kid from Bonner Springs, and that's what we like to see, these guys that have just stick with the program and contribute. Scored a touchdown this year in our receiving game. So he's been a great one to have, and just a great kid. Then you're going to have to also help me here, Bob, so I don't get my senior moments and forget as I just listed them all off. But then you got guys like Leland McKinney, who's finishing up as well. He's played defensive line for us, and really this second part of our season has really been huge for us. Alternated in during the first part of the year, but really has become a big key for us, being able to move Jacob Garcia out to a defensive end, and him taking over the middle part of our defensive line. A kid that plays hard, extremely, extremely strong, hard worker. He's going to have nothing but success as he continues on, in life after football. You got Keaton Ricard. We like to call him the Tongi Flash. He started off a little bit on offense for us early in his career. Has been playing defense. Has been really solid for us. this year, has been a guy that we can put in a number of different situations on defense and then also in the special teams. And I think that he's got to play, as much as, you could really think of, coming into this senior year, which is great to see these guys progress and being able to get good quality playing time as they finish up their career. Keith Waltrip, who's also in our secondary, has played a little bit of every position for us, from an outside linebacker to a safety. We throw him in a corner every once in a while as well. But just one of those kids, and there's a commonality between all of our guys that are seniors in this class that are finishing up. They're all extremely hard workers. And for every play and every down that he's been able to get, it's been just hard work. There was a couple with a lot of these seniors, when they were freshmen, you watched them get on the field and you're like, oh my gosh, they got a long ways to go before they're going to contribute. And sure enough, you watch them work hard and see them reach that potential that, hopefully we're going to be able to see them reach, and they have done that. So Keith has been a great kid for us. Always, like I said, worked hard in our program. So far I've got you with, I got Leland, and I got Keith, and I got, who did I start off with? Micah Mayo. All right. So next one is, and Keaton, I've gotten Keaton. So that's 4 of the guys. A fifth kid for us is August Walter. Gus is, from Dayton. Walter Dayton, is his cousin, and kind of led us into Gus. Gus comes from, in the middle of Kansas, central Kansas, Lincoln area, played 8-man football, made the transition to 11-man, and now has really turned himself into a fine looking football player, and through all the hard work, and he's going to go on. And what's coolest thing about him is he's going to get his degree, and he's going into officer candidate school to be a Marine. So he's going to continue to serve. So one of the things that we try to teach our guys to do is to give back, to somehow to their community, to be guys that can serve in their community. And he's going to do it on the national level by being a part of our military. And so I can't be more prouder for Gus and what he's been able to accomplish, and then what he's gonna do for us. Then we got Will Wallace. All right. And Will has been, the smartest kid that we've had on our team, for 4 years. I think he's got maybe 2 or 3 B's total in his academic career. He's from Strasburg, Colorado. Originally, he's played defensive line the whole time. He's been our nose guard or defensive tackle in our system. Really has played a lot this season. Has been a big contributor for us. Been able to rotate in on that. He's on special teams as well. He's shown that you can be smart up top and still be a really good football player at the same time as well. So athletics and academics can definitely work together, and he has done that. And then, last but not least, you got Isaiah Veal. And, what can we say about Isaiah, other than he's the epitome of, these guys when it comes to work ethic. He's played all 4 years for us. I think he started on special teams when he was a freshman for us, and has been in our defensive line and rotated and or started. We've really missed him the last couple of weeks. Going into games, he was injured, and then he got mono. And so kind of ended his playing career. So he won't be out there, running around in pads. But he will definitely be a guy that you'll see on the sideline, just helping however he can, in basically a jersey and street clothes. But he's had a great career. He's definitely been, one of my favorites. And really, it's not hard to be a favorite for me. Is all you have to do is work hard. And that's why all these guys, all these seniors, they fall into that category and are just great kids that are going to be missed, but we're excited to see what they're going to do after they get out in the real world and put their work together for that.
Very impressive that you rattled all that off and remembered it all. No senior moments here, Coach. Congratulations.
No. I think I changed up my order from when I originally told you, but that was good that I could actually maintain. It's a good thing there's only 7 of them, right? So it's like a phone number. Right? I can remember a phone number.
Today's opponent is Southwestern, a game that was postponed and moved to the springs, and even at one point in time was taken off the schedule when the original scheduling was put together for COVID times. And so it's kind of fitting that this one would be the last game. Southwestern comes in, though, with a pretty good season, but they find themselves with some injury troubles, but they still have some really good players on that team, including at running back.
Yeah, Keyshawn they have 2 Keyshawns, and they're both outstanding. One playing receiver and one playing running back, and they're special talents. They've taken a little bit of a hit when their quarterback got hurt in the Avila game a couple 3 weeks ago, but they still have a load of talent, and Coach Griffin has really done a really good job of building up that program to where, there's a reason why they're ranked in the top 25 in the nation. They're a very solid football team, both offensively and defensively, but we're going to have to keep a handle on the Keyshawns because those guys can play. If we can kind of limit some of the big plays and keep them hemmed in, well, then I should all be able to, give our offense hopefully a chance to go out there and move the ball and score some points too, if we can kind of keep that down. But they do have tremendous big play potential, and we're just going to have to keep everything in front of us when it comes to those guys, and some short tackling, because we gotta make sure that we get these guys down on the ground.
And you bring up the offensive part for Ottawa University. I played a really solid game at offense in the game against Avila, and Dakota Lynn had a fantastic game coming in. How excited were you to see the success that he had against a team like Avila coming in that was riding such a lot of momentum?
Yeah, I thought he played well. I mean, he played within his limits. He didn't try to do anything too crazy. He's a guy that he actually does a little bit better when he has to move around a little bit. I think that his offensive style when he was in high school is I don't think he had much blocking, so he got used to getting outside of the pocket and then creating plays, and he runs the ball really well. He's physical. There's one point at time of the year that we thought that, we're going to move him to running back. If we have depth issues at running back, and then we were going to just do some run game stuff, with him and as a quarterback wildcat type deal, but he's come along. He's improved in the passing game. We still need to work on some mechanics work with him, but he threw probably one of the nicer post balls that we've seen all year, even going back into the fall to Dylan Foose against Avila a couple of weeks ago. And so I think he comes along with that. I think he's having a better understanding. I think he's a typical freshman though, where, especially quarterbacks that I've worked with the freshmen, is they're happy, they're out there, they're having fun, they're having a blast, and they really don't know, any different about that they should be nervous or anything like that. So he's definitely living that up, and our offense, really kicked into gear a little bit better last week because of him being able to kind of branch out and do a little bit more than just run the football.
What are going to be the keys for this game here today against Southwestern? Obviously, with the defense that Southwestern has, you can't turn the ball over, and you've got a defense that has been able to hold teams to under about 20 points a game. So, obviously, the offense is going to play a big role.
Well, we talk about in our pregame chapel. Actually, last week. last Saturday, one of our assistant coaches, Kendall Miller, got married, and we were down at the wedding, and the pastor talked about things coming together, and in the Bible where they talk about the three corded rope, three strands of cord you put together. If you have one cord, it's easily broken. Two makes it a little bit stronger, but three makes it really strong. And what we talked about in our chapel was the fact that, we have to be able to put all three cords together to be successful as a football team. And the first one, it's there. You got defense, you got offense, and you got special teams. Those are our three cords. And if they're working together, we're pretty strong. And so we talked about that. Family has always been a big rallying cry for us, and it just kind of goes well with what we want to do on the football field, to be able to be that three-corded rope. And the other thing that we talked about, and we did this in our last practice, was that when we start off well, we play well. And so you go back to the Sterling game that we had at the beginning of this spring, and defense went 3 and out, caused a 3 and out, and then we blocked a punt. We got pressure on the punt, and then we had excellent field position, and we were able to get going and score on that drive. And in the last 2 weeks, we've done something on a fourth down that is prolonged drives, and those games did not turn out to be as successful for us. So we need to get off to a good start. If our defense, say we're on defense first, we get a 3 and out, we need to be able to get off the field and let our offense, do some things. And I think that we'll start off okay. So that's a key, is that we need to start strong and just kind of keep going. As my dad used to say, is, put your foot on the gas and keep the gas pedal, on the floor. So that's what we need to do, is put the hammer down and go.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking time out. Thank you for all season long. I appreciate it. And we will, we look forward to another season coming up, but we will also, we'll talk before, and unfortunately not after the game though, but we will talk before and kind of get things ready to go, set the table, if you will, for Ottawa University Braves football.
Yeah, so we'll have it's the second senior day. We're just not going to announce them, but usually at the end of our last game, we have the senior tunnel that we'll do. And so when these guys are coming off the field, we're gonna make sure that they have a chance to be congratulated by all their teammates. We'll do that. Also tell our team, somehow or another, we got to get a picture together as a team here in the spring, because there's been no Ottawa University team ever to play in April, as far as I know. So we need to take a picture, make sure that we get that up in the Hall of Fame, because if we're going to have something like this happen, we need to record it. But I think setting the table for our team, one of the things that I'd probably talk to you after the game is that we were able to do a lot of things this spring. Well, basically we had three spring practices when it comes to the full set of 15 practices that you have, 3 spring balls. We were able to get 42 practices, 4 games. I think I mentioned to you, Bob, before that we've had over 1,300 gradable plays in practice that we're going to be able to utilize and help develop our team. So it should really, hopefully, get these guys, to finish strong academically, get them all back here in the fall, and we could have a pretty salty football team coming in the fall of 2021.
Well, and you can see that this team is right on the cusp of being, well, salty, as you put it, but I think the top tier of the KCAC, if not the top of the top tier, come next fall. I think people take a look at everything as a whole. Man, even with that Bethel game, with the way that the score ended up on that, things are not that far off. And so for everyone that is disappointed or with the record and that, you got to take a look and see that, sometimes you got to build a little bit, and this is a heck of a building block to springboard into the fall with.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask for, a better opportunity to build your team than what we were kind of laid before us. It's going to be the biggest key. And I think that we were talking about this before we went on the record part of it, but it's going to be able to get these guys to get rest and recover, so then they can start, training for the fall. So that's going to be a huge thing. And we've already talked to the guys about what we need to do for rest and recovery, and then how we need to start building up starting in we'll kind of ease ourselves through May, the end of April and May, but June and July are going to be huge months for us, because right now report date for us is August 6th. So it won't be too soon before, we're back at it again.
Is there an excitement for players to maybe stick around over the summer and continue to build upon what has been done, especially here in the spring?
Yeah, I mean, actually, yes. And because before the pandemic hit, we had over 40 guys last year that were signed up to stay, which is, usually double than what we've normally had. So I'm hoping that kind of carries over to this summer. We've already done some things, talked to people about, places to stay. The university's got some options that hopefully our guys can do that are fairly affordable for the summer. And we've been pushing them to get jobs around here. And obviously that's what Coach Adams does a great job, is working around schedules, but then really training these guys. And the guys that usually stay in the summer are the guys that usually play the best for us, from person to person, and then are also in the best shape when we come into the season. So yeah, we're trying to encourage it. We also know that the freshmen need to go home, see their families and stuff, but hopefully we can get some of those back, even if it's just for a month, before we get going in. So I think there's a little bit, we'll know a little bit more in a week or so when we start having player meetings on stuff and who's all got jobs and who needs help getting those things or places to live. But so far it seems pretty favorable.
Do the players, do they feel a sense of progress? Do they feel a sense of that they're really close to being in that conversation for a conference championship?
I think that, we'll see how they played, against Southwestern, but, I think that they learned a ton about what they actually have in them, in that as we came out of halftime in the Avila game. It was one of those things that, you can carry a little bit over from the fall, but, we still had some new guys, new things, and it's way different. And so I think that they really started kicking in. They understood that, if we can start bottling that up, we're going to be a very, very, very strong football team. And if that's the case, then we should be able to make those runs that we talk about. We definitely have we have the history. We know, through the years what to do to be successful. It's just getting the guys to jump on that same bandwagon and understand that there's a lot of work to be done to get it. And I think that hopefully they got a chance to see it. We don't take really moral victories, but I think that our guys really started to see something within themselves at that time as a team.
This is an A-B question, so pretty much just two answers or two ways you can go on this.
All right.
So special teams in the game with Avila, was it an anomaly? Or are you going to go for two for every time in this game coming up against Southwestern?
We're going to start off kicking, and if it doesn't work out, we'll probably go for two.
That was just unfortunately a rough day for the special teams, but not just kicking, but also
every part of it,
everything.
Yeah, touching a ball when you're not supposed to stay away from it. Missing a field goal, missing 2 extra points, Not, we had some issues. But we had some bright spots too. We got backed up because of a personal foul, and on the kickoff. And I think I've never seen Mike, kick it as far as he did. He kicked that probably 80 yards. So maybe we should get him fired up more often like that. We get somebody to, I don't know, call him names or take away his favorite toy right before he goes out or something like that, because he was, that's what usually happens with little kids. Take away their toy, they get mad. But he was fired up, and boy, oh boy, did he smoke that ball. I mean, it just boomed off his foot, which now I tell him that, you can do that every time. And he looks at me kind of squarely, but I think we improved from the year before when it comes to special teams, but we need to be more consistent with it. So that's kind of the key there.
Consistency is always the key, just like every broadcast that we put out, and consistently on the scale of just above suboptimal when we broadcast. But
we always want to lead. Well, you always want to make sure that we give our best, but have some room for improvement, right, Bob?
Well, there's no doubt. I am the king of room for improvement. So yes, and that's what we strive for every week, is that little bit better. Did we do better than we did a week ago? And since we didn't do one last week, we can honestly say, yes, we did better than a week ago.
Yes, we did. Absolutely, Bob. Absolutely.
All right. Well, this time we will let this set and watch the season come to an end. And then as we get into the off season, we will be bringing in the monthly podcasts to check in and see how things are going, find out what new hobby Coach Kessinger has picked up. And by the way, did you enjoy that your name was Kessinger? Oh, no, that was the broadcaster. I'm sorry. By the way, so in Avila, yes, we were at Ray-Pec High School.
Right.
And the press box was better, but we were all crammed into one area. So we had dueling broadcasts plus the PA guy between us and Coach Kessinger. So I want to say,
I don't know who that is.
But did you know that it was a doctor as a football coach is that was a shocking turn of events. So but so was most of that broadcast for him.
Yeah. No, well, so that with I've only known Dr. Kessingers that have been coaches. So my father is a doctor, and so is my uncle. And they're the only coaches that I know of in our family, and they're all doctorates. So it just took me a while to catch up with them.
Well, the good thing is the first, probably about the first 9.5 minutes of game time. So however that equated into real time didn't make it to broadcast for them. So luckily that did not go over their video stream, but still had to hear that and almost wanted to drop the headset and just look at the guy like a dog looks at you with the head cocked. It's like, what? And first of all, Kessinger, this is not the Nixon administration. So no, I don't see anybody named that. And what's wrong with what do you mean football coaches can't be doctorates, or do you literally think this guy's a doctor?
Yeah, well, Tom Osborne, Dr. Tom, he's a doctor too. Yeah, so
and he's the doctor of love. So that's the other part.
and running the football.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I had to balance it out. Be the doctor of the pass game. So,
Eric Coryell of the Midwest.
Passology. My doctorate's in passology.
Coach, any last words before we wrap it up for this one?
No, I just I appreciate you, Bob, taking time every week doing this. The podcasts have been great. Say hi to everybody again, from the Grogans to the Millers out in Norton to my mother-in-law to your mom to your aunt to the fax machine. Oh, we retired the fax machine, so it's the modem.
Yes.
Back at the station. Plenty of people have been, catching up on this, and so they've been kind of fun to do, and I look forward to going back and listening to a couple of them here in the off season. So I can work on my game as well. So we'll do a podcast analysis, and we'll grade each other out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that would be great. We will dissect the podcast on a podcast, and that should just make everybody just want to listen.
Yes, obviously. I mean, they're going to can't wait for the 1 month will be excruciatingly long for them.
Oh well, yeah, and there's no XFL, and the CFL doesn't start till June. So I mean, that's
right.
If they do start.
Yeah.
Wow, but. Hey, we have OU football to talk about, and we will do that all through the summer as we get ready for the fall, which should be an exciting fall. And I think we'll wrap it up right here for this one. And maybe in about a month's time, we'll see what's going on in May and throw something up there and see what's going on.
All right. Well, go Braves as always.
Thanks to Coach Kessinger for joining us. I am Bob Johnson, and we will talk to you again tentatively for the month of May with the Kent Kessinger Show Podcast Spectacular, hybrid, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for listening to us, and we'll talk to you soon.